Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you the Quarter Year Crisis book tag. This was an original tag done by Roshan's Reading, and I was tagged by my friend Lee Mack. I will link both of them down in the description box below in case you're interested in watching their videos or possibly doing this tag. So Lee tagged me in this back in April, and I went on vacation and got behind with watching things, so I apologize, Lee, for the lateness of me doing this tag, but I'm getting to it now. So this will encompass what I've read up through the end of April. Let's just get into it. There are 9 questions, I think, so let's go. The first question is, how many books have you read so far? So by the end of April, I have read 57 things. Question number 2 is, have you found a book you think might be a 2023 favorite? So in April, I read Court, which is the 4th book in the Crave series by Tracy Wolff. I devoured this book in like 3 days, even though it is over 900 pages long. I absolutely loved it. It's definitely my favorite of the series and definitely a standout for me so far this year. Probably something that I've enjoyed the most this year that is a novel, especially. So yeah, I would say Court by Tracy Wolff. Number 3 is least favorite book of the year. For this one, I'm going to have to go with Semel Paris Volume 3. Semel Paris is a manga series by Jun Ogino, I think, and it is a series that I thought would have more to do with how the world works and following our character, learning how to battle these monsters and learning more about herself. But in the end, at least up until volume 3, it was more about the sexual exploits of our characters and other characters in the school, and that's not what I'm here for. So I decided to go ahead and DNF that series, and that is my lowest rated read so far this year at 2 stars. So yeah, very disappointed. Like I said, I DNF'd this series, and it had so much potential, but yeah. So question number 4 is most read genre so far, and so for this one, my most read genre this year is fantasy. It's a little surprising, but not really surprising, because my usual go-to for books is mystery. Now, I do read a lot more in other genres as far as manga goes, like romance, which is something I hardly ever touch as far as novels go. But as far as books and manga go together, my most read genre is fantasy. And I believe that this is due to 2 particular things. One, I've been continuing with the Crave series by Tracy Wolff, which is an urban fantasy series about like supernatural academy and the people that go there and other things like that. And then I've also been reading the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba series by Koyoharu Gotoge. We read 2 volumes every month for the Monochrome Manga Club, which is an in real life manga club that I host at a local Barnes & Noble. We will be finishing up that series in May, and that series is like 23 volumes. We started it in 2022, but we've been reading 2 volumes every month in 2023. So, you know, that is also accumulating into the number of things I'm reading into a particular genre. I also forgot to mention that I am participating in the Fever Along, which is a read-through of the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning. That's also urban fantasy, so I've been reading a lot more fantasy. So yeah, I'm actually really into the Crave series at the moment, and so I will be finishing out that this year, or actually within the next couple months, because the last book comes out in May. But there are other series that I am like in the middle of that have kind of re-caught my attention because I am in this particular reading mood. So I foresee fantasy being a genre that I'll continue to read heavily over the next few months at least, if not for the rest of the year. So yeah, it's kind of surprising, but not so much so. I have always enjoyed fantasy, not high fantasy, because that tends not to agree with me, but urban fantasy, teen fantasy. I usually like to read those types of things, but for a majority of my YouTube life, I would say that mystery was probably the front and foremost type thing. Now, in regards to the fantasy that I've been reading, there are mysterious elements to those series or titles that I have been reading. So even though they are fantasy, they have mysterious elements to them. And so I wouldn't say that I'm getting away from mystery, but it's just not the forefront genre that I've been reading. Number 5 is book that surprised me. I did shorthand some of these questions. So I think the question is a book that has surprised me this year. And so for this one, I picked Through the Grinder, which is the second book in the Coffee House Mystery series by Cleo Coyle. This did not surprise me in a good way. It didn't really specify which way surprise meant. I think most people would look at that and say a book that surprised you in a good way. But in this case, I chose a book that surprised me in a bad way. And so Through the Grinder has a scene in it where it left a really bad impression of not only the author but the main character of the series for me. She made some biphobic remarks during a conversation in one of the scenes, and that really left a bad impression on me. So much so that I have decided to go ahead and DNF the series and remove all of the books that I have of this series from my shelves. So yeah, it surprised me in a bad way. Question number 6 is a book that's come out in 2023 already that you want to read but haven't. And for this one, I've chosen volumes 19 and 20 of LDK by Ayu Watanabe. This is a bind up of volumes 19 and 20. It came out at the beginning of May, but I have not received my copy yet. So I'm highly anticipating it coming so that I can read it. This is a high school romance series that follows this girl who ends up living in an apartment complex on her own for reasons, and her next door neighbor ends up being one of her classmates who is also living on his own for reasons. And this particular guy is one of the most popular guys in school. They end up kind of agreeing to keep each other's secrets because if the school found out they were living on their own, they get into trouble. And something happens where his apartment gets ruined and he ends up needing to find a place to stay and ends up moving in with our female character. And so it's a story about them navigating their living situation in the beginning and then eventually falling in love with each other, and we're following their romance. I have been really enjoying this series. It's not a perfect series. There are definitely some things in this series that bothered me. Specific scenes where I don't think things were handled well at all. But overall, I've been enjoying our couple's relationship and watching them tackle things that have come in their path and growing their relationship and overcoming obstacles that they have encountered. So really looking forward to this omnibus coming in. We usually only get about one a year. Lately, Kodansha has been doing these bind-ups of the volumes instead of just releasing the one volume, which I'm appreciating because there's more to consume, but it's still a long wait until the next one comes out, and so I'm anticipating receiving my bind-up of volumes 19 and 20 shortly. Hopefully, it'll come in soon. Question number 7 is one goal you made that you're succeeding at. And so I don't actually make very many goals, and this year I decided not to make any at all. The only goal that I made was my Goodreads goal, which is like a constant for me. Every year for the last few years, I've kept my goal at 100 things read. Now that includes manga and novels. When I first started with Goodreads, I would increase that goal year to year to year, and then eventually it just got to be more than I could accomplish. And so not getting to that goal started to like really bother me, even though there were reasons that I couldn't read as much. Like, life got in the way. I had to do more adulting. I was raising a high school student and things like that. And so I decided that I would just make it 100 every year, because I typically get there, especially because I read so much manga. So that's like literally the only goal I have. I do have a sub goal of 52 novels read. Because I read so much manga, I want to make sure I'm still consuming those novels. And so I do set a sub goal of 52 novels. And as of this year, as of right now, at the end of April at least, I am succeeding at that goal. I've read 57 total things, but of those 57 things, 22 of those things have been novels. So I am actually ahead of schedule as far as the novels that I'm trying to read through the year goes. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job, and I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. Hopefully I'll be able to keep up that momentum through the end of the year. Question number 8 is one goal you've made that you need to focus on, and I don't think I need to focus on anything. Because like I said, I only made that one goal. I did do a randomize my TBR just for 12 books to read in 12 months. But I had stipulated with that I would only refer to that if I didn't know what I wanted to read. And so far this year, I have known what I've wanted to read, so I haven't actually looked at that list. I did take a look at it right before I started filming this video, and I haven't read any of the titles that are on that list. But like I said, I only did that in case I had one of those times where I was like, I want to read something, but I don't know what I want to read. And thankfully, I haven't had one of those. So I don't think there is any goal that I have to work on, because I didn't make any other goal besides my Goodreads goal. And I'm doing great at that. So I have no complaints. Number 9, which is the last question, is a new to you booktuber, bookstagrammer, or booktalker for 2023 that I'd recommend. And so for this one, I have 2. I have only found these 2 booktubers this year. Most of the people that I have followed this year have been waxtubers. So that's why I haven't found any more booktubers. I've been really into the home fragrance section of YouTube for the last few months, and so I've been constantly adding new wax tubers to watch, but not so many booktubers. And these 2 particular booktubers, they're actually both Australian, and they are Reading with Mare B, or Reading with Merb. I'm not quite sure how she pronounces her channel name, but I'll link it down in the description box below. I found her through her TBR game. She also does a TBR jar challenge vlog series that I've been really enjoying, and a couple other different types of videos. So I've been really enjoying her content. And the other Australian booktuber that I have been enjoying has been The Reading Wren. They also have a TBR game. They actually have 2. One is a Stargate TBR game. The other is a Supernatural TBR game. And I've been really enjoying watching those games. They also have been reading manga lately, and so I'm always looking for new booktubers who are reading manga. I do follow quite a few manga tubers, but I'm really enjoying seeing the booktube community get into manga and finding out what series they're reading and things like that. And so yeah, it's been really interesting. But The Reading Wren has been reading Black Butler lately, which is a series that I'm in the middle of, and so I've been really enjoying watching them read through Black Butler and see what they think of it. And so, yeah. So I'll link both of those channels down in the description box below. Definitely go check it out. I thought it was kind of interesting that the two booktubers that I have followed this year and have been enjoying were both from Australia, because Lee, my friend, who tagged me in this tag, is also from Australia. So I thought that was kind of perfect. And that is all of the questions in this tag. If you have done this tag, let me know so that I can go check it out. If you haven't done this tag and would like to, please feel free to do so, and you can say that I tagged you. That's pretty much all I have for today. Let me know down in the comments below if you will be doing this tag, or like I said, if you have done this tag. I would really love to know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a blue heart emoji, because that's my favorite, down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.